What's it like working with a family member, and how do you navigate that so that, what stays at work, and what, it doesn't affect your personal relationship?
Yeah. So working with Lee's a great kid. Um, it's kind of this double-edged sword. It is phenomenal to have a family member, someone that you trust, someone that thinks like an owner. To find employees that will think like an owner is rare.
Mm.
And so he thinks like an owner, and frankly, he is part owner. We gifted him some stock last year because he was doing such a phenomenal job, and so we just blessed him with that. And so he does have ownership, but even before that, he thought like an owner. At the same time, because he and I are uniquely wired very similarly, we're both high drivers. We both are very opinionated. If you haven't picked up on that.
Once or twice, it came through. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done Strength Finders. It's an assessment that the Gallup company here in the U.S. do that basically says what your strengths are. And he and I have a couple of the same strengths. And in the archetypes of that assessment, we're both considered forces of nature. So there are times that heads butt, and I have to remember that my relationship with my son is more important than my relationship with him and his role as an employee.
Yep.
And that is something that I constantly have to keep in the forefront. And so, I guess a year and a half ago, we were having some issues where we were both triggering each other's emotions, and it got fairly heated more times than I like to remember. And so we hired a coach to come in that sat with both of us individually and then collectively and helped us identify what those triggers were. And we started to be able to say, okay, hey, Lee, this conversation is starting to go into red zone. I need to step away for a minute, and then we'll come back. And that was enormously helpful for he and I. We also then came up with kind of a code language where if it's personal, Lee texts me. And he calls me Dad.
Mm-hmm.
If it is business, he either Slacks me or emails me and he calls me Tim.
Okay.
So just having that little nuance, it helps us know which hat am I wearing right now. Is this the son hat, the dad hat, or is it the boss, the employee hats? And it helps kind of change your mindset as to how you're approaching things.